Welcome to War Thunder with Subdude. How y'all doing today? Well, just kind of came to my mind the fact that here's an idea that Gaijin really ought to consider. Recently, they came out with, well, let's just show you this, where you can pick whatever mission you really like and which ones you really detest and leave it that way so that you get a reduced chance of getting certain missions and an increased chance of getting other missions. Sounds good, right? Except for one thing. This does not make any sense when you're dealing with planes that have zero chance of being effective on certain maps. Don't understand what I'm saying? Okay. Let's say you got the OS2U1, the Kingfisher, a rather pedestrian observer plane. A plane that has two 100-pound bombs. Woohoo! Big bang! And a couple of 30 caliber machine guns. I believe they're both 30s. Yes, both 30 caliber machine guns. 7.62 Brownings. Firing the 30-06 round, or the 7.62 by 54 round, I believe. But you got this plane, you got into a match in realistic air battles, and it happens to be something the size of, Afghanistan. And it takes you 30 minutes to get across the map to where you can drop your two measly 100-pound bombs. And then you have to fly back to your airfield to rearm, and that takes another 30 minutes. In the meantime, fighters at your tier, which are modestly faster, are chasing you down, which you have absolutely no chance of getting away from because it's a monstrous map, and your best bet is to hide, thus dragging out the map and the match for interminable amounts of time while doing basically nothing. Where it would be more efficient to, per plane, decide what are the good maps. Now, for some players, Afghanistan might be the special map that they've been looking for to fly the OS2U on. I'm being hyperbolic. If you don't understand that, you've got a bigger problem than me. But you've got other players who are sitting there. They get the F4C Phantom 2 and they get it all loaded up for bear modifications. Let's go here. Where we want to go? We want to go. Yeah, we're going to go like this. This is how we're going to roll. We're set up. We're going in for ground kills. And we end up with something like, I don't know. Let's pick out a good map. Go to custom battles. Create a session. And let's see. France, Uranus. Wake Island. That's a good one. Number one, you have to take off. Number two, Why have you got an F-4 Phantom on Wake Island when your incoming bombers are Bettys? And the fleet out there, they're going to soak up Zunies like nobody's business. So you're basically left with what? A land-based fighter dealing with a naval attack, and no, that just isn't useful. Landing at Malta, again, rather useless mission. So there are missions that I would pick for the F-4 Phantom. There are missions I would pick for the F-100D, and there are missions I would pick for the A-4B. I do not wish to exclude missions so much as push the missions that are absolutely great for this plane, in my opinion. And that goes for all players. Everyone is entitled to make their own opinion choices on what is a good mission for a particular platform. The problem is, right now, if you use that filter, it applies carte blanche across the board to all nations, all aircraft, everywhere. What good is that? Because what's good for one plane is not good for another. And vice versa. A mission that's fun for the A2D1 is not going to be fun for the OS2U. Now, I realize Gaijin has some internal filters that prevent certain planes from flying on certain maps, or certain battle ratings, or tiers of aircraft. But there's a lot of maps where that just doesn't fly. Let's take into account RUR. Why am I flying F-4Cs and F-100Ds on RUR? The map is too small to begin with. Taking out a bombing target, the strategic targets, I say that sarcastically, are double the bomb load of any other map in the game. So what you would normally be able to use 3 1,000 pounders from an A4B, you need 6 1,000 pounders from an A4B, which can only carry 5. See a problem there? Yeah. Any other map, you can take out that strategic target with 3. And that includes maps like Afghanistan, alternate history Kaminsk, alternate history Spain. Considerably larger maps than RUR. So, it was a good start with being able to pick your maps, but they need to adjust it to be each plane you get to decide what are the I ain't going there maps, and each plane you get to decide what are the good maps, what are the ones I really would like to fly. And that will help Gaijin to actually fix their missions, their maps, and their victory conditions. Because right now, victory conditions basically means I killed all the enemy. Okay, lowbrow, but you didn't accomplish the mission. And that should be what should be your victory conditions. Not just killing all the enemy. At best, that gives you a draw. If you do not do the mission. And we have really bad mission parameters. One mission parameter that I think should be incorporated is if you are to take out, let's just say you're to take out the bridges on the Berlin map to prevent the advancing Soviet forces from moving forward, which means a rejiggering of the map a little bit to move some of those forces behind the rivers and canals. And if the bombers do their job and take out the bridges, they have secured the Berlin side's conditions for victory. They may not win, they may all die in the process, but they have secured their conditions for victory. The enemy team, the Russians, if you will, because this is supposed to be set at the end of the European conflict of World War II, their goal is to prevent the bombers and fighter bombers from taking out those bridges. If they do that, they have secured their victory conditions. I realize that sounds a lot more complicated than what we currently have, where kill everyone is the rule, but it would make more sense. Why, I've had teams that are absolute trash. I mean, 3 minutes into a match and we've lost 5 aircraft. 4 minutes and we've lost 10. 5 minutes, the match is over because my entire team evaporated. This is why the victory conditions for certain maps have got to be readdressed. Mission parameters are everything. And the same can be said for ground forces and, naval forces until they get rid of this capture the spot in the ocean idea. Will never be worthwhile. That is just absolute garbage. That is World of Warships. And I will not play World of Warships, even if it's a War Thunder. Give us something to attack, give us something to defend, and it's not a spot in the ocean. Give us a convoy to defend or attack. That makes more sense. The convoy is NPCs, which most of our players are NPCs. But that's what they are. They're bots. They're there to sail in a specific direction for a specific reason. To be the target of attack and defense. In ground forces, the capture the point routine is just absolutely insane. But, you know, it makes more sense in ground forces than it does in naval forces. But in air forces, you definitely need stricter victory conditions. Ones that you can measure. Did we protect this industrial complex from being bombed into trash? Or did we bomb the bridges to prevent the advance of the enemy ground forces? If we missed one, well, did we go after the ground forces that came across that bridge and eliminate them? If we did, that counts as the bridge blown. I realize this is kind of out there for some of you players who really don't care about all that. You're just into the mindless air-to-air slaughter, gladiatorial combat, blah, blah, blah. Some of us have been playing a little longer. Some of us really would like to see the game evolve a bit. Now, if you've got ideas, throw them out there. I really would like to see somebody come up with ideas that Gaijin will buy into. Because right now, there isn't a lot to buy into. I mean, yeah, I like flying my A4B, A2D. I like to go out in the F100, but I find it really hard to fly on small maps or medium-sized maps with the F100. Same goes for the F4C and the F4E. It's really difficult to fly on some of these maps because they're too small and you can't do a mission properly. And the missions are never really laid out intelligently. Some maps are great, but I never see them. I can't remember what the name of it is. Go back into custom battles, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, just do my favorites. This map. There's a mission on this map that I get constantly with the A2D, the AD4, AD2. I'd like to see it with the A4B because it's got ground targets here, it's got more ground targets here, it's got ground targets here, it's got more ground targets out here, it's got 4 strategic targets across here, it's got 2 strategic targets here, 2 strategic targets here. It's got ground forces in the middle, it's got ground forces over here, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 air bases. The fighters all start on this side. The attackers and bombers start on this side. I would love to see this in A4B and possibly F100. Maybe even the F4D or F4C and E. Because that would allow you the opportunity to use those planes in a role other than air-to-air mindless slaughter because reasons. And I'm not going to play ground forces because I have to drive a tank before I can drive a jet. And that, to me, is absolute stupidity. I will not drive tanks when I don't want to drive tanks. I want to drive aircraft. I will not drive ships if I can't drive an aircraft without driving the ship. Pretty straightforward. And the sooner Gaijin will integrate all of these into single battles, the better. I don't know what you could put in this pond of water because I really don't know where it is. And it's pretty well ice covered to begin with. Maybe make a summer map of this area so that boats can sail around in it. I don't know. How big would the boats be? Maybe max size Corvette. Something that doesn't have anything over a 3-inch gun. Or 76 millimeter. I don't think destroyers would fit on this map very well. But I think something with a 3-inch gun would be about right. Because that would be able to come in close enough. And, I mean, there's a fort here. Maybe make that fort your capture point. The point where you want to get, you've got barges that are going to be coming across from over here to get to there to take the fort. I don't know. But the lack of imagination in allowing these maps to be used for only certain aircraft and not for others is insane. Battle of Moscow wouldn't be a bad one. Battle for the Rhine. It's a bit small. I do not like this for jets of any type. Any type. But it's fine for props. Bulge is interesting but strange. Boulogne-sur-Mer. This thing should be for battle rating 6 jets. And they need to redo all the ground targets. They really need to redo everything on Boulogne-sur-Mer. Berlin, it's complicated. I like it going from red to blue, but not from blue to red. I just don't like it. Ruhr. Again, this should not be for battle rating 9 and above. Anything battle rating 9 and above should be banned from this map because they're too fast. And the map isn't big enough. Norway. I'm of several minds of Norway. Number one, the red team is too close to the place where the strategic targets are. And if you move them further away, then the blue team is too close to the strategic targets. Honestly, I think that the red team should be shifted up to here, and the blue team should be shifted up to here, with the carriers pulled up here too. And it should be limited to naval aircraft. Get rid of this capturable airfield. Just get rid of it. It does not need to be in the match. But limit it to carrier aircraft. Now what does that mean? That means, well, let's take a look. I'm going to use the US line because this is the line I'm familiar with. Let's see. From the AM1 to the FJ4B, these Phantoms can actually land on the carriers, and especially seeing as how we're supposed to get new carriers sometime. That's kind of a nebulous statement. The F2H2, F9Fs, the F9F8, the F7F, the F8Fs, the F4Us, the F4Us, the F6Fs. I think you see now. There's a lot of naval aircraft. U.S. line. Germany, ground-based aviation. Continental forces are like that. USSR don't get to fly there. Great Britain. Firefly, both of them. Firebrand, Seafire, Sea Fury, Attacker, Seahawk, Sea Venom. And that, there's also a Sea Hornet, I believe, but we haven't gotten that yet. Also the Wyvern. The Firecrest is another naval plane. Hellcat, Corsair, Martlet. You got quite a few naval aircraft, including going all the way back to the Sea Gladiator and the well, I don't know about the Nimrods. I don't think they're naval aircraft. I guess they are. They say they're naval aircraft. And it does look like it has a arrestor hook. And the Nimrod looks like it has an arrestor hook. So, yeah. I guess they get to play. But, again, you run into the size issue. How big is this map, and how long is it going to take them to fly the map? And as for the bombers, they need an exit strategy. They need a way to exit the map when they've done their job, and either exit the map and their match is over, or rearm and re-enter the map back at the original starting point. They have an original starting point, a point at which they may exit the map, and then they either are done with the match or they re-entered the map at the original starting point. I realize these are a lot of mechanics in the game that need, in my opinion, need to be addressed and entered into the equation of this game. Will that make this game rather large and unwieldy? Probably so. Would it make it a lot more interesting to play? I think so. And if any of you think so, I'd be glad to hear from you. Because I think that this game is definitely due for a major, major overhaul. We're not in beta anymore. We haven't been in beta for a long time. And right now, they need to overhaul how matches are, one, laid out, two, what planes can fly on what maps, or allow us, the players, to decide what we feel are appropriate missions for individual aircraft. And number three, change the maps to make them more usable by more aircraft. Alright, that's about it. I probably overran my patience level for all of you. So, this Subdude signing out. Y'all have a pleasant today, a better tomorrow, and we'll catch you in the sky in Air Realistic on the good maps. Take care, folks.